Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a world where gravity could be switched off, where solid metal could bend like clay, or maybe even vanish and reappear right before your eyes. Sounds like something out of a movie, right?
Hmm.
Well, today we're diving into something truly extraordinary that, well, it challenges our very understanding of what's possible. The Hutchison effect.
Hmm.
We're talking about phenomena like antigravitics, levitation, and even theories that touch on space-time manipulation and extra dimensions.
Right. Deep stuff.
So our mission in this deep dive is to explore the source material we have and try to uncover what this phenomenon actually is, what it suggests is truly possible, and maybe why you should have, at least a basic grasp of it.
Definitely.
And while the name Hutchison effect might be new to some of you, the core ideas aren't entirely fresh, are they?
No, not entirely. You hear whispers of figures like Nikola Tesla maybe exploring similar concepts way back in the early 1900s.
Right, and the Philadelphia experiment gets mentioned too.
Yeah.
That infamous, controversial example.
Exactly. It's often cited in connection with these kinds of phenomena.
So what truly sets this effect apart? What makes it more than just, another fringe theory?
Well, what's fascinating here is precisely that we're not just discussing abstract physics or like purely theoretical concepts. The Hutchison effect, at least as it's described in our sources, involves observable, tangible, and frankly kind of mind-bending phenomena.
Tangible.
Things that directly impact matter and energy in ways that seem to defy, well, conventional science.
Yeah.
It's the sheer physicality of the reported effects that makes it so compelling.
It forces you to think maybe our basic physics understanding is incomplete.
Exactly. Or at least there's more to it than we currently grasp.
And the man behind this mystery is John Hutchison, born in 1945, a Canadian inventor. And his background isn't exactly typical, is it? Deeply involved in alternative energy, life extension research, machinery.
Right. Quite eclectic. And he's been out there, talked about it a lot.
Yeah, over 300 TV appearances, more than 1,000 radio shows.
Yeah.
That's a lot of exposure.
It really is.
And then there's the really interesting biographical stuff, like opening a gun museum in North Vancouver back in 1970.
Oh, yeah. I saw that mentioned.
Which led to legal battles over gun control in '79. And he won, actually changing Canadian laws.
Quite a character.
Plus, he's considered a Nikola Tesla expert, which, given what we're about to talk about.
It starts to connect some dots, doesn't it? The Tesla
Yeah.
connection is often there with this kind of research.
So how did he stumble upon this? The Hutchison effect.
Well, the aha moment, the actual discovery, it reportedly happened totally by accident. This was in 1980.
An accident. Yeah.
He was just powering up some high voltage equipment he'd put together, and suddenly a piece of metal just flew up and hit him.
Whoa, just like that.
Just like that. And apparently his immediate thought, that crucial realization was, these frequencies, they can manipulate gravity.
Wow. Instant connection.
Seems so. And from then on, he started exploring it intentionally. His setup sounds, almost like something out of a workshop movie scene. Built from salvaged gear, like, Tesla coils, an electrostatic generator, magnets, radar equipment, bits and pieces.
Right. Not exactly a state-of-the-art lab.
Not at all. But with this setup, he was apparently able to generate these specific electromagnetic fields. Fields that could, reportedly, levitate metal, change its structure.
Change its structure.
Yeah, its crystalline structure. It just shows sometimes these huge breakthroughs come from just noticing something weird, an anomaly.
Turning a aha moment into a whole field of study.
Exactly.
Okay, so levitating metal is one thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it gets weirder, doesn't it?
Oh, much weirder. This is where it gets really wild, based on the source material.
Go on.
Well, beyond lifting metal and altering its structure, you get into reports of objects just vanishing.
Vanishing.
Completely.
And then reappearing.
Which, naturally leads to theories about manipulating space-time, tapping into other dimensions.
Okay, hold on. Space-time manipulation. Extra dimensions.
That's what some theories suggest, based on those observations. And it wasn't just metal. He reportedly levitated all sorts of things.
Like what?
A bowling ball, metal tools, obviously, even liquids.
He made water float.
Apparently.
Right.
And plastic containers were seen collapsing inward, like crushed by an invisible force, metal objects getting warped.
Warped how?
Bent, twisted, and the effects weren't always just right there in the lab.
What do you mean?
Hutchison himself mentioned at one point a utility pole outside his lab started swaying back and forth because of the fields he was generating inside.
No way. affecting things outside.
That's the claim. And for people who follow this stuff, he apparently replicated parts of the Philadelphia experiment story.
The Navy ship thing.
Yeah, but on a small scale. Using a model ship in a tub of water, creating standing waves, making the water levitate around it.
It's like physics-defying magic tricks.
Pretty much. But if you connect this to the bigger picture, these effects, if real, they fundamentally challenge our whole model of physics and reality.
How so?
Well, the core insight isn't just cool trick. It's that maybe the basic laws we rely on about matter, energy, gravity, they might be incomplete.
Or just plain wrong.
Or at least operate differently under certain conditions we don't understand yet. If matter can genuinely vanish and reappear.
Or change its basic form.
Or gravity can be influenced by electromagnetic fields like this.
No.
It forces a huge reevaluation. It's paradigm-shifting stuff, assuming it's consistently reproducible.
Okay, so the big question then, how does it work? What's the explanation?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Our source is pretty upfront. Nobody really knows for sure.
No definitive answer.
Not really. Some initial theories suggested it was about specific electrostatic and electromagnetic fields sort of canceling each other out in a weird way.
Okay.
But John Hutchison himself, the guy who found it, he has a very specific idea.
Which is?
He strongly believes it's tied to something called zero-point energy, ZPE. Our source gets into this quite a bit.
ZPE. Okay, I've heard of that. Can you break that down? What is zero-point energy, and how does it connect to, well, metal flying around and vanishing?
Absolutely. So zero-point energy, or ZPE, it's basically the energy that's left over in a system even when you remove all other forms of energy. Like
Right.
even at absolute zero temperature, the theoretical coldest point possible.
There's still energy there.
That's the idea. It got a big boost from Hendrik Casimir back in 1947. He analyzed ZPE using the slot experiment with two conductive plates parallel at 0 Kelvin.
Right.
He theorized that pressure from outside and forces between the pleats would actually push them together, a kind of vacuum effect.
A vacuum effect from nothing.
Well, from the ZPE field in the vacuum. The broader concept is that the universe is filled with this vast sea of zero-point energy. It's like a background hum of energy everywhere.
Okay.
And the really mind-bending part is the idea that we might be able to extract this energy, maybe even extract heat directly from the vacuum using this Casimir force.
Wait, extract energy from empty space.
That's the implication. The big takeaway isn't just free energy, though that's part of it. It's that the vacuum of space isn't empty at all.
It's like a giant untapped battery.
Exactly. A cosmic battery all around us. It completely flips the script on energy scarcity, if it's true and harnessable.
And Hutchison thinks this is what his effect is tapping into.
That's his conviction. He believes this ZPE could be used to power huge areas, high energy output from a low energy input source, homes, cars, the works.
Got it.
But yeah, big if. Needs proper funding and, crucially, government clearance, according to him.
Which leads to the next point. With something potentially this huge,
Yeah.
governments must have been interested. Rose.
You bet they were. The source indicates authorities definitely took notice.
How so? Tried to shut him down. Or work with him.
A bit of both, it seems. It says various authorities tried to acquire his replicated Tesla tech, which made it hard for him to keep working independently.
So he took it on the road.
Yeah, the source mentions him taking his work on tour US, Japan, Germany.
And what's the speculation there? Did the governments know about this already?
Well, the material suggests the government probably already had info, maybe from Tesla himself back in the day.
So they were maybe just checking how much Hutchison actually understood.
That's the speculation presented. But it wasn't all adversarial, apparently. Agencies like NASA did pay him to work with them on the tech.
NASA? For what purpose?
The source just says, for purposes only God knows what. So it's unclear.
Okay. And what about the military angle? What would they want with this?
Well, this raises a pretty important question, doesn't it? The source points to a strong interest in propulsion systems, maybe even for interdimensional travel.
Interdimensional travel. Seriously.
That's the kind of potential application mentioned.
Yeah.
And also powering advanced weaponry.
Weaponry. How?
Yeah, imagine the power. The source poses a really chilling hypothetical. What if you could immerse a building, say a tower, in these Hutchison fields?
Yeah.
Could a direct energy weapon then weaken its structure? Shred it from the inside out?
That's disturbing.
Very. And John Hutchison himself apparently told a story about a friend witnessing an entire building vanish during one of his experiments.
Vanish? Like the Philadelphia experiment stories.
He explicitly connected it to that, yeah. The insight here is pretty clear. If you have technology this powerful, this physics bending,
Someone's going to want it for strategic advantage.
inevitably, regardless of the original intention behind the discovery.
Okay, now, this next part. It gets really controversial, and I want to stress, we're just reporting what's in the source material here. Impartially, not endorsing, just relaying the claims.
Right. Crucial distinction.
The source directly connects the Hutchison effect to the World Trade Towers event on 9/11.
Yes. It makes that link explicitly.
It starts by emphasizing that John Hutchison, his videos, the effect itself, he claims they are very real and work. It even states a certainty that they know how to make it work at their leisure.
Strong claims.
Very. Then it brings in Dr. Judy Wood's suggestions regarding the towers and this effect. But before getting into her specific theory, the source asks us to consider just a basic observation from the aftermath. The lack of a huge mountain of rubble. For two massive buildings, 500,000 tons each, compared to, say, the Empire State Building at 365,000 tons.
The argument is there should have been much more debris left.
Right. And also how the buildings came down extremely fast without busting up surrounding areas much or causing flooding from water mains you'd expect.
Okay. So what does Dr. Wood suggest according to the source?
Dr. Wood, as relayed here, suggests that what people saw wasn't a normal collapse, but the two buildings turning into dust in midair, disintegrating from the inside out.
Dust in midair.
Yeah. The source highlights observations supporting this view, like floors and ceilings turning to dust from the center outwards first, the lack of that expected rubble pile. And it mentions the reported vanishing of an incredible amount of material, steel, concrete, office equipment, everything, even leaving the underground parking garage empty, not caved in.
And the missing people, too, it mentions.
It does mention the absence of over 1,500 souls from the site. Again, just reporting the theory and observations presented in the source material, linking it back to the Hutchison effect's potential.
A very serious and controversial application, if true.
Extremely. Moving on for the theories and the unsettling implications. There's the physical evidence, the actual stuff produced by these experiments.
Right, the transmuted materials.
The source also mentions Tesla's death ray, again saying Hutchison replicated it, but clarifies it's not necessarily a destructive beam like in the movies.
How does it describe it then?
More like a portal gun or a teleportation device, or maybe a transmitter for energy. Like you could take the energy from a bomb, say, and send it somewhere else wirelessly. Bombing by radio.
Ah, linking it back to wireless power transmission, Tesla's dream.
Exactly. But the samples themselves, tell us about those. They sound pretty weird.
They really do sound anomalous. The descriptions defy easy explanation. For example, there's a large, heavy steel bar. That looks like it's crumbling, transmuted. Unknown in metallurgy handbooks, apparently extremely rare. Analyzed in Germany, U.S. labs, Japan. Looks like a major transmutation.
Metal just
Yeah.
changing fundamentally.
Seems like it. Then there's extruded brass that apparently exploded from the inside out, ripped itself apart into this specific intricate pattern.
Wow. What else?
An aluminum sample that showed signs of, well, something wanting to get outside, like internal pressures trying to escape.
Internal pressure from where?
Good question, and maybe one of the strangest. A stainless steel kitchen knife embedded inside an extruded aluminum alloy sample.
Embedded. How?
That's the mystery. And apparently there's a visible shadow of the knife, even though the sample was anchored down, and they shaved the top layer off with a machine.
A shadow inside the metal.
The source actually uses the phrase, transparency perhaps did happen. It's bizarre.
That is bizarre. Anything else?
Yeah, get this. Wood found mixed into the metal structure itself.
Wood inside metal.
In multiple samples analyzed in Germany and U.S. labs, sometimes a cubic inch or more.
How is that even possible?
No idea. There are also samples mentioned that ripped apart and then seemed to rejoin themselves.
Rejoined.
Yeah. And things like breaks showing clean cuts, but also bent stress marks. Or just looking ripped apart or turned to jelly and frozen in time and space.
Frozen in time and space.
That's the description used.
Yeah.
There's also a large aluminum piece, once solid, seen on video being bent and twisted after experiments. Stainless steel, same thing bent, twisted with pop marks, pieces falling out.
And these samples are still being studied.
Apparently.
Yeah.
The source says many are still undergoing analysis around the world. The real insight here is just the persistent, inexplicable physical changes across all sorts of materials.
It really suggests a fundamental manipulation of matter itself.
Something that continues to baffle scientists, according to the source.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for us? The Hutchison effect, as presented, it's just an incredible range of phenomena, from levitation and weird material changes all the way to these grand theories about space-time and zero-point energy.
Right.
From an accidental discovery in a makeshift lab to attracting attention from NASA and maybe military interests. The claims are staggering, and our source insists repeatedly that these phenomena, Hutchison's claims, they're very real and they work.
Mm-hmm.
The core takeaway seems to be that, well, maybe our neat picture of the physical world has some pretty significant gaps,
That there are forces and possibilities we're only just beginning to glimpse.
with implications way beyond what we usually imagine.
And this raises that final, important question for all of us, really. The source concludes with this thought. Whatever is held in the dark usually comes to the light.
Okay.
And it poses a provocative idea for you, the listener, to think about. It states, directed energy weapons exist. And the hope, it suggests, is that this kind of technology, if it's real, could maybe be used to save humanity in dire times.
But there's a catch.
There's always a catch, isn't there? The ultimate question it leaves us hanging with is the price we may have to pay for that.
A heavy question.
Definitely. It certainly encourages us all to keep exploring these topics, keep asking questions, and maybe challenge the boundaries of what we think is possible.